Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we are back in Planet Zoo in our franchise mode here in SZA Austria. Welcome back. So I really thoroughly enjoyed playing this game last time out with you guys. It was, as I said, one of my first sort of dives into the game, but really enjoying it. So last time out we introduced our red deer into their habitat, and yeah, I think things went fairly well. Again, drop me some comments down below on how things can improve, but yeah, I think overall we were quite happy. So I made a few edits offline just to tidy things up a little bit, because I'm conscious I wasn't really overly happy with this build. So I've added these beams, as you will see, and I've added the roof overhang just to give it a bit more of an edge. I just think that's a bit of a nicer aesthetic to what we had before, and then I've also added these sort of edgings around the little opening here to the barn area, and I've done a similar thing around the sort of keeper gate and the keeper hut as well. I also tidied up the keeper hut roof, so I've removed that sort of flat roof that we had previously. Again, I'm not sure I'm too thrilled about this build, but it's going to do a job for now, right? We've got this sort of tilted roof on here now, so yeah, I think overall this is looking a little bit better. I also added a bit more, a few more flowers, a few more plants in here. I extended the water out slightly, added in this sort of fallen tree branch, and some additional rocks and reeds, which I think adds quite a nice sort of aesthetic to the area. So yeah, I think overall the red deer are now in a good place, and we can move on to the rest of the zoo and start expanding. So what do we want to do today, guys? So what I want to start talking about is this sort of entranceway that we discussed last time. So I want this to be sort of like an entrance plaza, where we're going to have the information booth, which we put in last time out. We're going to have some toilet blocks and maybe some shops in here as well. So this is going to be kind of like the first thing you see when you walk into the zoo. So I want this to be like a quite a nice looking building, but also like a main sort of area where people can come and maybe have a sit down, have an ice cream, a cup of coffee, buy their balloons, etc, etc. So we're going to do that today. I also want to bring in our next animal habitat. So we'll get onto that a little bit later, but I've got an animal in mind, again sticking to that European theme. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to time lapse the builds, because I'm going to be faffing around quite a lot with them. So I'll time lapse it, and then we will come back as we did previously and discuss what we did in the build. So look, enjoy the time lapse. Hopefully it's slow enough for you guys to keep up, but obviously quick enough that it's not going to be boring to sit and watch through. So yeah, I will be back in a jiffy. Okay guys, welcome back. Let me just hit play. I paused very quickly because I noticed the litter suddenly being dropped all over my zoo, which I wasn't impressed with. But we've done the initial build for our main entrance here. So let's have a quick whiz round and have a quick look. So we had our information booth that was previously over here. So we've now that was kind of our starting points. We've decorated it up with this sort of construction pieces that we used on our red deer enclosure. So this is going to be consistent throughout the zoo, very sort of European theme. But yeah, so we've got our information booth over in the corner here. We've introduced our SZA Austria sign above this little archway, where eventually our guests will be able to walk through into the wider zoo. We've got our toilet block here, so a small toilet block. I just went in, let's sneak in. I did a couple of little toilet blocks. Apologies, lady, for bothering you while you're in the lavatory. But yeah, so I've added a couple of little toilet blocks in there and this nice little toilet sign, which I think is a good vibe. And then we've got a few shops over here. So as you come in, you can purchase your merchandise. So we've got a balloon stand, which is very cool. We've got Cosmic Cow ice cream, and we've also got a little coffee shop. So I'm very conscious this does poke down into the shop itself, but I don't think it actually looks that bad. I think this is quite a nice little vibe here. So yeah, this is kind of like the entrance. So this is where you come in, your initial plaza. Eventually we'll have some seating and stuff in here as well, but I think this is a good start, right? We'll probably continue to develop this over time, but yeah, I think this is a good look. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this little building. But yeah, I'm quite proud of this so far. So we've got a little bit of snow. Now, again, game mechanics are very new to me. Obviously, our guests are going to be freezing. Do I need to put heaters all over the zoo? Let me know. Our red deer don't seem to be too bothered by the cold. They can obviously live within this habitat. So yeah, they're very happy. Oh, and we've actually had a baby. So we've got Callum. Our baby red deer has been born, so excellent. So our breeding has started as well, which is going to be great for getting those conservation points or money further down the line. So yeah, we're in a good spot. So yeah, this is a good start for us. So what I want to do now is bring in our next animal. So I actually went into the trading center earlier and did some purchasing. So I purchased a couple of European badgers. So if we have a quick browse at Zoopedia, if I can find it. So the European badger, obviously this isn't the most exciting animal in the world, but it's small, it's not going to take up too much space, only needs 360 square meters of land, so we can create quite a nice small habitat here. Yeah, it gives us some additional challenges as well. So if we look into the species data, this is quite a shy animal in relation to humans. So we're going to have to be careful around the habitat itself. So what I'm going to be doing is working with sort of like two-way glass to try to sort of eliminate any of the sort of overcrowding in the habitat area. Hopefully that works, but yeah, let's see. So yeah, this is going to be our next animal that we drop in to the zoo. It's going to be quite a nice one. So I have purchased those guys, so let me quickly go back into the trade center, send them into the zoo, and as usual we're going to get those guys into quarantine first, so they can be going through quarantine while we are in build mode. And the snow has just stopped as well, which is fantastic because it's going to allow us to see better. So let me bring this path out a little bit. So as you come through this entranceway, and then up here I just want to kind of curve off a little bit, and then you can actually connect into there. I think that's going to be good. And then eventually I do want to also curve off up here. So yeah, that's going to be quite nice. And then we can decorate that up later. So what I want to do is I don't want the enclosures or the habitats to be too close to each other. So I want to try and place this away from the red deer, but not too far away, so people have to walk miles to see all the different animals. So I'm thinking I'm going to use this space in here that we've just created. So I'm probably going to try and bridge this path across, and then use this sort of opening here as our sort of badger habitat area. So yeah, I'm going to dive into another time lapse, guys, while I build this. It shouldn't take me too long, he says, but we'll come back again as always, and we will have a chat about what we've built after. Okay guys, welcome back. So yeah, this is our sort of basic habitat for our European badgers. So let's have a quick whiz round before we get the guys in. So I've created this sort of hard shelter here with these one-way glass windows. So if we go on the inside, it's obviously blacked out on this side to give the badgers a little bit of privacy, but it also allows our guests to come in and have a little view of what the badgers are doing inside their habitat. The same sort of applies with this sort of external area. So we'll decorate this up with some foliage very shortly, but similar sort of method. So one-way glass all the way around, but then this nice sort of like wooden theme sort of throughout, just to kind of give that sort of forestry look to the habitat, to the enclosure, and a little bit of water in here for the badgers to drink out of, and then obviously their food bowl. So yeah, and we also incorporated a keeper hut once again within the habitat itself, just to sort of save space. And once we get to creating work zones, etc., that's going to be really useful. So one thing that we do need to do, and it might be a bit too early for most people, but I tend to do this. I'm going to need some more electricity over here because we have gone outside of our existing source. So I'm just going to bring in a very brief electricity source over in this area. So I'm just going to draw out a very rough path, just get it away from the guests, but close enough to our facilities to allow them to get the benefit of the electricity. And then I'm just going to bring in a transformer for now, just to make sure that's in and running. And then if we have a quick look at our heat map, yep, everyone's good. So this is going to work well. So these guys passed quarantine quite some time ago, so let's get them moved into their new enclosure, and everything seems to work quite nicely. And then once they're in, we'll decorate this up a little bit. But let's just have a quick chat about what sort of next steps are going to be for this whole area. So what we want to do is create this walkability. So these guys are going to come in, see the red deer. They're then going to walk around here, maybe have a little shopping area in this part here, maybe a few additional toilets. So we've got toilets spread around. But yeah, we want this walkability, and then our next enclosure will be somewhere sort of in this area. Just so things aren't too far apart, but they're close enough that everyone's going to be quite happy. So yeah, and then we're going to continue to decorate these sort of gaps in between the paths here, just so everything looks fancy, looks pretty. But yeah, here they are. The badgers are arriving. He's dumped him into the wall. That's interesting. Okay, so welcome, Beth. You are straight away stuck in a wall. Nice. So let's have a look at what they need. So you would have seen I dumped in some enrichment items. This is another animal where I'd actually done some research. So in terms of enrichment, these guys are pretty good. In terms of their terrain, they're happy, so they're in a good spot. We will obviously adapt this anyway, but it's good to know that they don't have sort of major requirements. As long as they've got some long grass, they're going to be quite happy. Hard shelter's all good, space is fine, so yeah, no issues there. They do need some coverage, so let's jump in and grab some natural resource, shall we? Okay, cool. So some sort of minimal foliage added in. So we've duplicated the trees that we use in our red deer enclosure, just to make sure that we're keeping that consistency with the trees that we've got in the zoo. We've just added the reeds and some rocks around our water area, and some grass just around the bases of the trees. So again, very sort of minimal for now. I'll probably, as I did with the red deer enclosure, have a little think about this whole thing as I walk away, and then we may touch it up in the next episode. But I think this is going to be a good starting place, and our little badger friends are very, very happy so far. So yeah, we're in a good spot. So last thing that we need to do to get this place up and running is make sure that we don't neglect our education. So I want to just grab some education boards and get them sort of scattered throughout this area here. So as our guests come over, they can learn all about the European badger, which I'm sure will be very interesting. So let's get that onto there, and then I want to get one screen sort of in the middle here up against, did that work? No. I want to get a screen in the middle here, yeah, up against the enclosure itself, just to make sure that people have got a good viewing space over there, and I think that's quite a nice vibe. So let's update this one, European badger. and then this one as well as the European badger. I don't actually like the positioning of this, so I'm just going to move it in. Oh, let's turn that off. Cool, so bring you down, perfect. And then finally, we just want to bring in our donation boxes because they are going to be making us a fair bit of money. If I can find them. Yep, donation box. So I'll probably change the colour of these in the near future as well, just around the zoo. But for now, I just want to get them in, make sure that we've got enough donation boxes so that we are earning that cash through the donations. Cool. And then actually, while we're here, we might as well just throw some bins in because we do have shops now. We're going to have people dropping rubbish throughout the zoo. So that should just help. And then finally, because we've added a second enclosure, again, let me know down in the comments how you do this, but I like to have an individual keeper for each enclosure that I have. So if I have 5 enclosures, I have 5 keepers. It's just, I don't know, it just makes sense to me. Staff in general, I tend to sort of duplicate as we move through for most of the staff. But anyway, let's see how we go, see how their workload is. And we also need to get some training done at some point as well. So yeah, I think for today, we're going to leave it there. So we've done our European badger enclosure. We've done our main entrance. I think we are sort of rocking and rolling now. We're looking like we're getting to a good place. So next time out, we're going to continue to expand. We'll get another habitat animal in, continue to expand the zoo, and yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying it. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think. Do you think I'm on the right track? Drop any hints and tips that you might have, any suggestions around what you'd like to see next in terms of animal base. But yeah, I will leave it there, guys. So as always on this channel, have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, night, no matter where you are in the world. I hope it's fantastic. Thank you all very much for tuning in again, and please hit that like and subscribe. I will catch you on the next one.